Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in and just a warm welcome from Sierra Club. I'm Catherine Garcia. I'm the acting director of the Clean Transportation for All campaign, and I'm calling in from Washington, D.C. And I am just so pleased that you're here to join us. We're having a conversation on going bigger on the climate, justice, and care for Congress's infrastructure package. And I am going to, in a moment, introduce our panelists today, my colleagues at the Sierra Club. And I would love it if you would type in your name and where you're calling from in the comment box. And also, if you choose, add what is your go-to mode of transportation. So I can start. My name is Catherine Garcia. I'm from Washington, D.C. I use she, her pronouns. And my go-to mode of transportation is the public bus. Especially here in Washington, D.C., we have great public transit. And I usually take the bus all around town. And I'm going to pass it to Will to introduce himself.
Hi, y'all. My name is Will Anderson. I'm on the federal policy team for Sierra Club based in Washington, D.C., originally from Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm focused on the Clean Transportation for All campaign. My favorite mode of transportation, I'm a city dweller, so I'm a micro-mobility supporter. I really enjoy electric scooters, e-bikes, anything and everything with an electric motor to get me around town.
Thanks, Will. I'm going to pass it to Angel.
Hey, y'all. I'm Angel. I'm a volunteer leader with the Delta chapter of the Sierra Club here in Louisiana. I'm calling in from New Orleans, and I'm going to do a better job of getting on our buses. So I'm really excited about the new routes that have been proposed. I generally love walking and biking.
And Josh.
Thanks, Catherine. My name is Joshua Hodak. I am a senior program manager based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with the Minnesota North Star chapter. I am from the Chicago area, but here in the Twin Cities, our family is a car light family, and I get around mainly by bicycle year-round here in Minnesota, but also walk and bike and use our one car when needed.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. So we'll get started in a moment. Just for those that just joined us, we are going to be talking about how to go bigger for Congress's infrastructure package. So together with communities on the front line of pollution and the climate crisis, together with labor unions and environmental allies, we are advocating for expanding access to affordable, reliable, and pollution-free buses. That includes school buses and transit buses, and also passenger rail. And we're calling on you to join us today. If you like what you hear, please take action and sign on to our alert, which we're urging you to tell Congress to make big investments in public transit today. So you'll see the link to the action alert in the chat, and please sign on at sc.org/Biden Jobs Plan. So now I'm going to pass it to Will to give us an update on his advocacy work. Take it away, Will.
Sure. So like I said, hey all, my name's Will. I work on the federal policy team for Sierra Club, specifically on clean transportation issues. And the question that I get is, what does clean transportation cover? We're trying to get to the country to 100% on electric cars, trucks, and buses, and making sure that everyone has access to reliable transit, passenger rail, and safe biking and walking connections. It's no small feat, but it's extremely important. I'm going to give you a little bit a general overview of where we're at right now with Congress and the infrastructure package. You may have seen in the news and social media about this current state of play in DC and might be wondering what's going on. What does this all mean for me and my community, and what can I do about it? First, just a little bit of a perspective and level setting about the why. Curbing pollution from transportation is a matter of protecting our most vulnerable communities from pollution and the climate impacts we are seeing that worsen each and every year. Across the nation, we're already seeing and experiencing dangerous climate impacts this summer. We've seen record temperatures scorch the Pacific Northwest with a deadly heat wave. We've seen commuters in New York City have had to cross flooded subway stations due to heavy rainfall from Tropical Storm Elsa, as well as other weather events. And the climate crisis, it requires big investments. Unfortunately, the current bipartisan framework that the Senate has proposed, while it has a lot of good things in it, doesn't go nearly far enough. So we're here today to make sure that Congress goes bigger and bolder, either through a separate infrastructure bill or a wonky process called budget reconciliation. It's a little wonky. I won't get into those particular details right now, but the crucial detail is that if united, the Democrats can pass an infrastructure bill on their own and these infrastructure priorities on their own, and they don't need any Republicans to vote for it. It is critical that this bolder infrastructure bill is rooted in climate and justice and job creation as well. As we say, no climate, no deal. And as the #1 sector contributing to climate change, transportation is critical. And the COVID-19 pandemic has shown us what we've known to be true. Our public transit is woefully underfunded, and yet it is the lifeline of communities and the backbone of society, of essential workers getting to where they need to go, and of making sure that people have access to basic needs. As we build back from COVID, we want to build back better, cleaner, with more quality union jobs for more people. We want not only more transit routes and more reliable service, but also buses that are powered by clean energy and don't pollute the communities that they serve. So that's a general synopsis of what's going on, and I'm happy to field questions later on.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for that helpful federal update. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Angel of Sierra Club Volunteer Leader for the Delta chapter in Louisiana.
All right, y'all. So I want to talk to you a bit about why clean buses are important in Louisiana. What happens in Washington is going to affect communities across the nation, including my own here in Louisiana. We need an infrastructure bill that centers the true needs of the people: transit equity, union-backed and honest paid work, and public funding for the greatest good. We need clean electric buses in order to achieve full-scale transportation systems. The onus is on advocates and on officials and leaders within our Louisiana communities to recognize the power of consistent, reliable, and affordable, not to mention gold standard and attractive transit. Many people here in Louisiana jump to the idea of the mega projects and the rail. And while, of course, our chapter and Sierra Club fully support electrified rail as well, buses are the piece needed for microconnectivity. They serve as the connector, the component that helps reach every neighborhood every 20, 15, or even 10 minutes, which is the ideal. Many of our folks are overlooked by our transit systems currently here in Louisiana. But imagine if we designed transit for the folks who needed it: the elderly, those too young to drive, folks in rural areas and in food deserts, and workers, our working people. And if we make it a beautiful system, something that works for them and their needs, it will ultimately be a system that works for all of us. Clean buses are crucial for this vision, and they are crucial for our carbon emissions reductions goals here in Louisiana. And clean buses are also the key to a healthier and happier life.
Thank you, Angel. That was a great vision. Thank you for helping us really imagine what this transit system needs to look like. And now I'm going to pass it to Joshua, asking him the same question. What would you like to see in a big and bold infrastructure package in Minnesota?
Thanks, Catherine. Well, we need to treat public transit as an essential infrastructure, that it's crucial to our economic, our social, and our environmental well-being. That has not been the case, at the federal level. And it's time to turn the page and make that change right now with this infrastructure package. Here in Minnesota, we just passed legislation to ensure that the very first clean electric transit buses actually benefit the people that need them most, the neighborhoods and the communities that are most impacted by pollution, are most marginalized. But we need the federal assistance to make our transit fleets fully electric. So for decades, another perspective that we have here in Minnesota and across the country is seen that since the 1950s, we've been hopelessly attempting to build our way out of congestion with ever expanding, polluting highways. There's so many things that are wrong with this, but putting so much into highway expansion disproportionately impacts the people that live along those corridors. Highway expansions add more pollution. They actually add more congestion shortly after they're built, and by a concept called inducing traffic. They actually increase vehicle miles traveled because more people immediately use them when we expand them. It's just a no-win situation. So dedicating more federal funds to transit infrastructure will really help us get to where we need to go. And I also wanted to add that Minnesota is on the brink of becoming the first clean car state in the Midwest, and adopting stronger emission standards for new vehicles sold in our state will help us take action on climate. But what good is it if we have more electric vehicles if we don't have the charging infrastructure to get many places? And so that's a real need that we have here in Minnesota and across the country as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for adding your perspective from Minnesota, and thank you again to Will and Angel. So helpful to show how funding a big and bold infrastructure package will benefit our communities across the country. And I know all of your points must resonate with everybody tuning in. So now I want to turn to zero-emission school buses. Whether or not you personally rode a school bus every day on the way to school, I bet you know what a ride on a diesel school bus is like. And 25 million children today are exposed to diesel fumes on their ride to school. So with diesel, you can smell the diesel when it's idling outside homes and school. Diesel exhaust is a known carcinogen, which directly impacts the kids who ride the bus each day, along with the drivers. Right now, 475,000 school buses are in use, and it's some of the oldest technology on the road. But we can do better for our kids and our neighbors' kids. Today, pollution-free electric school buses are being produced domestically here in the United States, and they're slowly being integrated into school bus fleets across the country. Studies show that transitioning to cleaner buses reduces incidences of asthma, bronchitis, and pneumonia, and even absenteeism. Today's electric school buses can serve 90% of the 90% of the routes, of the school bus routes in the United States. And this is really deeply personal to me. I have a 1-year-old son. His name is Ontario. He's actually named after the Great Lake in New York. And Ontario loves buses. He can barely speak. He's just starting to speak. He has about 4 or 5 words that he likes to regularly say. And one of them is bus. And he just gets so excited when we're walking to his daycare and he sees a bus or hears a bus, and he just waves to the bus driver and is so cute when he sees buses. However, these are diesel buses, and I really think, how are these diesel buses affecting his young lungs? So this work is a priority for me because I want to make sure that by the time he and his friends at daycare are headed off to school, that it's on an electric bus. So right now, turning back to Congress, turning back to the administration, President Biden and Vice President Harris have identified electric school buses as a priority, and originally included $20 billion in the American Jobs Plan to invest in electric school buses. But the bipartisan infrastructure package has whittled that amount to a paltry $2.5 billion. So this is not the time to reduce funding for clean transportation for kids. And it's definitely not the time to add funding for fossil fuel buses, as Congress proposed this week. This is the time to pass a major infrastructure deal that prioritizes the most vulnerable and the ones with the most to lose. We need Congress to step up and protect kids on their way to school with a healthier, safer, pollution-free commute. And we need to make sure that the investments will benefit the school districts that need it most, those located in low-income communities and communities of color, which disproportionately experience the worst air pollution. So now I want to invite our panelists back to the stage to take some questions. Great. So I want to ask a question to Will. What are you seeing is something that we can do right now for making sure that we have clean transportation in the infrastructure package? And just an extra shout out to the action alert that we have going on right now.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, definitely prioritize the action alert. Make your voice heard right now. It's a crucial moment on the Hill. They are currently negotiating language for our priorities within the clean transportation space. So particularly those senators that have touted their bipartisan bona fides, so to speak, reaching out to those senators in particular, but also your members of Congress as well, even if you aren't represented by those particular senators, because now is the time for those members to elevate your voices in this negotiation. And hopefully within the next week, we'll have some sort of idea of text for these different funding levels. And there may be other opportunities later on, but this is a crucial moment now. So please activate yourselves, your networks, and mobilize and get your message heard by your representative in the coming days.
Thank you, Will. So we do this work because we believe that change is powered by people, and we need all hands on deck to pressure Congress to fulfill their duty by building back bolder and investing in climate action, justice, and the care economy, including the essential service that is public transit. We're getting ready to ramp up our organizing work this summer, and we'd love to have you get more involved. You can join us for a kickoff call this Tuesday, July 27th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern to do just that. Anyone can join, so please tell your friends and your family and your neighbors. Check out the link in our bio and RSVP. The link is sc.org/kickoffcall. And on this call, we'll be sharing more details about how this is shaping up in Congress. And as you heard from Will, this is changing every day. So please make sure to tune in. And the opportunities we have to push our elected officials are really to go bigger and go bolder. That's our message. While Congress is in their home districts for August recess, thousands of us around the country will be putting pressure on them through a bunch of different tactics. We'll be hosting action parties, and you can invite your friends and neighbors to make banners to hang from your home or your neighborhood. You can write letters to the editor of local papers, or get a bunch of people to post on your members of Congress's social media pages. Another option is taking your message straight to Congress to set up a lobby visit to talk to your elected official or their staff. No matter what you choose, we'll be there to support you along the way. If you're interested in getting more involved, please sign up today, and we hope to see you at the kickoff call on Tuesday. Just a reminder, we do have that action alert Will was just telling you about to push Congress to make sure that clean transportation investments are as big as they need to be for this package to be successful. Please join 10,000 other people that are joining us with this message and sign your support at sc.org/Biden Jobs Plan. We're halfway to our goal of 20,000. So that's it for us from the Sierra Club Clean Transportation for All team. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you take care. Have a good weekend.